If you are planning to buy a flat, whether it's an HDB or a condo, you might be wondering which level should I buy? Is it true that the higher the better? In this video, I'm going to discuss the pros and cons of each option so you can make a better decision. There's no official standard, but typically level 1 to 5 is considered low, mid-floor is level 6 to 10, high floor is level 11 to 20, and if above level 20, it's usually categorized as very high. Let's talk about low floors first. Ground floor units obviously are not ideal from a privacy standpoint, but some people do like it because it gives the feel as if you are living on a landed property. You can do some gardening, you don't have to queue for the lift, no need to take the stairs, etc. Some people also like it because they don't have to worry about their kids falling down from height, or maybe they have elderly folks who have mobility issues, etc. There are also buyers who intentionally look to buy low floors because they have a limited budget. But some condos have ground floors with giant patios. Unless you and your family like hanging out outside, it will be a waste of space. You will need to pay more for that space not only when you buy the property, but it also impacts your maintenance fee. And typically, this is the reason why it is more challenging to sell a ground floor unit. Renting out a ground floor condo, on the other hand, is still doable because I noticed some expat families love Singapore's hot weather and they make the most of it by putting their dining table outside. Another downside of ground floor units will be the risk of cockroaches, rats, and ants, etc. Even though you keep your unit very clean, insects and rodents can easily roam to your house if it's on a low floor. Safety is also something to think about. Although Singapore in general is very safe, but low crime doesn't mean no crime, right? And if you live on the ground floor, be it in an HDB or a condo, technically intruders can come more easily. You and your family would need to be more disciplined in terms of locking the doors and windows or even install some grills. What about level 2 to 5? In general, the concerns are still about noise, smell, and difficulties in finding buyers if you want to resell in the future. Level 4 in particular has an additional challenge. Some buyers avoid buying units at level 4 and 13 because they believe it will bring bad luck. Number 4 is considered bad luck in the Chinese culture, while number 13 is considered unlucky in Western culture. Even if they themselves don't believe in it, but perhaps their family still believes that, or they are worried it will be difficult to sell later on. Interestingly, a study published in 2018 by SMU found that unlucky addresses do transact below average. For HDB, the average price is around 1.5% lower, while for condo, the average price is around 3% lower than the surrounding flats. Okay, now let's talk about middle floors, which means level 6 to 10. Mid floors are considered the most ideal for buyers because the price of the property is usually still lower than high floors, but they don't have the same issues and stigma that low floors have. So, mid floors still have a good chance to sell at a good price, and of course, renting out also should not be a problem. If you really want a good return on investment down the line, you also have to consider what is the highest level in the block. For example, is level 9 high? Not bad, right? But if the block has 30 or 40 floors, then the unit at level 9 seems to be too low, although in theory it is mid-floor. You also have to take note of external factors that will place your unit at a disadvantage, such as the block-to-block distance, which causes privacy issues, or if the unit is facing the bin center or the dumpster, for example. If the mid-floor unit is facing a multi-story car park, that's also something to reconsider. In the past, I personally thought it was not a big deal, but after hearing experiences of people who actually live opposite to multi-story car parks, seeing lights, hearing honking, and car door slamming can be annoying eventually. Your unit can also become dark if it's being overshadowed by the car park. To a certain degree, there's a privacy risk as well because people can just hang out at the car park and observe your unit. Now let's talk about high floors, which is level 11 and above. Noise and smell issues coming from the ground floor should not be a big problem anymore. You also have a better chance of having a good unblocked view. High floor units are also usually windier, making you less reliant on air cons and can just survive using ceiling fans if you are up for it. In the future, if you want to sell a unit on a high floor, you can command a higher price as well. But unfortunately, this is also what the current owner or the developer is thinking as well, so you typically need to pay more for a high floor unit. However, it is important not to get carried away. For example, if there are two units, one at level 11 and the other at level 20. However, if the price difference is $100,000, does it make sense to pay so much more? Even if, let's say, you completely fell in love with the unit on the 20th floor. If you want to make a profit when it's time for you to sell, I'm sure you want to sell for a higher price than what you bought, right? But will the next buyer be willing to fork out the premium price? And remember that the higher your price is, the smaller your potential buyer pool is. If you want to rent it out, you also won't be able to justify a significantly higher rent, maybe a little bit more, but the gap can't be so much because most renters are sensitive to price. So, which floor should you buy? Well, at the end of the day, it's up to you and your preference, but let's discuss several scenarios. If you are the typical buyer, meaning you want to buy for your own stay, but you probably want to resell the unit sometime down the road, then the most strategic option is to buy a mid-floor unit. In general, they are value for money because they are cheaper than high floors and do not have the stigma and don't push the potential buyers away as low levels do. If you want to buy for your own stay and you want to make it your last house and not planning to resell in the future, then the unit level doesn't matter lah, as long as you like the house. If you mainly want to be a landlord and just rent out the unit, then low floor units can be a good option because it's cheaper and renters typically don't care at which level they are as long as the rental cost is affordable. If you are the kind of person who likes to stay at home and have some extra cash, actually buying a high floor unit is not wrong either. It is called enjoying life. Statistically, almost all record breaker transaction is for high floor flats. So you buy high, but you can also sell high. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.